We have Ryan and Anthony here. Hey, congratulations to the both of you for Alice Fades Away.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hey, so let us start off with the easy question. Ryan, where did you get this idea for the story for Alice Fades Away?
Well, the first image that kind of came to me was just this guy dressed in black, just standing at the top of this field, just watching everyone down on this farm, like really ominously. And like, he's so confident in his abilities that he's not even like trying to hide himself. Like, he's just out there in the open, just basically taunting them that way. And I just thought it was such a striking image that it just grew from there, you know. And then it's like, okay, well, it'd be great if, you know, we could do it as like a period piece, because there's something like kind of creepy about, you know, or like haunting about seeing those old black and white images from back in the day. So kind of just playing into that. And then obviously the architecture of Massachusetts and New England in general, it kind of lent itself to doing a period piece. And so, you know, it started with that image, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Terrific. Well, let's take a look at this film on the way, because you brought up being as a period piece. Either of you could answer the question. What was it difficult to basically recreate the 1950s look, you know, for today? In this case, for this film.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. The most difficult things were wardrobe and hair and makeup. All that stuff just took a lot longer than I was anticipating it to. So the schedule had to kind of grow because of that, to accommodate, you know, the different wardrobe changes and the hair and makeup. And so that was probably the biggest thing. Luckily, you know, in New England, there's so many farmhouses that were built at that time or before that are still there now, that, you know, once you go out there, you go out to Western Mass, it's almost like stepping back in time anyway. You know, you might have to digitally take out some light switches or something in the, you know, in these farmhouses that aren't time appropriate. But other than that, a lot of these places look exactly the same way they would have back in the 50s.
It's funny, when I think of like Massachusetts, I don't think of any more countryside in Massachusetts, but I guess it's still beautiful out there, right?
Well, Western Mass is all country, and you know, there's not a lot out there. It's pretty sparse. There's not many people. You know, everyone thinks Boston, but 3 hours west of Boston, it's stepping into farmland. It's pretty interesting.
Now, I guess one of the things that's important about creating a 1950s feel is the cinematography, the color palette that you guys actually use. Could you talk about more on how you guys came up with that choice?
Well, yeah, me and the great David Boulay, who shot the movie, we had a lot of discussions about that, you know, how we wanted the movie to look and feel. And so that was very, very important in the pre-pro stage, you know, and we looked at a lot of different movies, predominantly The Master by P.T. Anderson, and No Country for Old Men, the Coen Brothers movie, and some Terrence Malick stuff. And we kind of, you know, brought our own ideas to using those as kind of a jumping off point.
Now, tell us more about this farmhouse. How it was a big farmhouse, obviously, you know, for an Eastern farmhouse and so on. How did you find this perfect location for Alice Fades Away?
So it's actually two locations that we made look like one.
Oh.
So the outside was one farm, and we used a couple rooms inside, and then we went to another farm on the last week of our 3-week shoot and filmed inside in that farmhouse. And that was like the kitchen and a few bedrooms upstairs. And that one is actually in my family. And that's another big reason why I set the movie where I set it, is because, you know, my family's background is farmers. I'm the first like generation that didn't grow up on a farm, but it's still very like ingrained in my identity. And a lot of those farmhouses are still, even though they're not working farms anymore, they're still in my family. So yeah, so that was someone in my family was the second one that we filmed on the last week. And then the first one I actually found on Airbnb of all places. And I just found this great looking farmhouse in Ashfield, Massachusetts, and called her up and pitched the idea, and she was game, even though I don't think she knew what she was getting herself into until, until we were in it, but she was awesome.
Is it easy to convince someone's Airbnb property to become a film set?
It's
someone
easy.
who's never done it before.
Yeah, it's easy to convince them until they're there on the day, and then it becomes not as easy anymore. But no, she was very gracious, and luckily she was okay with it for the most part. But I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people when they see, dozens of people all of a sudden take over their house. But we got through it.
Now, let's talk about some people in your cast. Ashley Shelton, who plays Alice, had to carry a huge load in this film here. Why is she perfect for a film like this?
Why is she perfect? Yeah, she's got a look to her. That was what struck me. She felt at home in a period piece. And obviously, because, she just got cast in The Good Lord Bird, she was in that. So, there's just something to her, besides the fact that she's a great actress and just totally, auditioned and killed the audition and, championed really hard for the role. Her passion was there. What's that?
She really both embodied Alice's dark side and maternal nature as well, like believable both from her when she's with her son in the film, and you believe that she'll do anything to protect this child, and that side of her. But then this other dark side where Alice has sort of this uneasiness about her that you're almost not sure what to expect out of her, and she really could play both sides of the light and the dark really well.
Yeah, she juggled the dynamics of that character very well. It was great to watch.
Well, a lot of characters in here had their own dark sides. Was it easy to get them into that mental state of bouncing back and forth on going into the dark side for these characters?
Yeah, I mean, it took some time to figure out, just because it's, my first feature film. So, once you everyone has their own process. So you kind of adapt to each person and give them whatever they need to get there, and whether that's to talk through it in depth or whether they just want to go off and be alone so that they can really get to that dark place. I just follow them. I let them do what they needed to do. And then I just tried to help as much as possible so that they felt comfortable getting to that spot.
William Sadler is in this film, which was quite surprising. That was a steal. How did you guys convince him to come on board?
I wrote a letter to him that I sent to his agent, or I sent it to the casting director, who sent it to the agent, and it got to him. And I just told him about my love of this movie from the early 90s called Trespass. And it's him and Bill Paxton, directed by Walter Hill. And, it's not a movie that's talked about all that much. So I think he appreciated, just the shout out of it, because I came to learn that he actually really likes that movie too. So he was very moved by the words, and then he read the script, and he really loved the part and identified with the themes and with the character, and that was it. We were off and running.
Now, Anthony and I were speaking before the start of this interview about missing out on film festivals and so on, because this after all, we are going through a pandemic. So Anthony, could you tell us how is this process of pandemic releases actually work now these days, and how do we still hype up for a film like this?
Well, I want to say we're almost a guinea pig for that because, you know, we were in post for a little while because being the first film, Ryan didn't want to just rush it out, you know, so he's like, we worked, you know, through with the editor and get everything, you know, as best as we can get it. Because really there was no rush to hurry this to market. So by the time it was done, we had spent a fair amount of time in post and the decision was upon us, like, what do we do now? And, you know, COVID had hit and festivals were getting canceled. And so we just, you know, we didn't know when they were coming back. The idea of a virtual festival hadn't happened yet when we had to make our decision. So our choice was to either wait and see how long COVID lasts and when festivals were coming back, or try and get a distributor or sales agent and bring it right to market. And we just made the decision at that time that it would be better for the film to just get it out and not wait, because who knew when things were going to come back. And it's so we sent just a lot of, you know, unsolicited emails to distributors because, you know, normally you go to a festival, you win an award, or get some press and your phone's ringing. And, you know, you do get a couple emails here and there with people looking, but when you don't have anything to hang your hat on that this film is good, like a festival, you've got to go and be like, hey, please watch our trailer. Please take a look at this. And so we just did that. We sent out to any contacts we had, companies we worked with before, just everything out. And then we'd been a big fan of The Orchard, which was 1091 before they were 1091. And they bought the company back from Sony and are now 1091. And when we started talking to them, we're like, all right, this is good. It's a good distributor that's going to put, you know, some oomph behind the release, and it's not going to throw it out there. And so we, you know, chatted with them for a little bit, and they send offers, and, you know, we agreed to take it. But it was, to Ryan's credit, was, you know, a leap of faith, because this is his first film. And if you skip festivals and you do all this, you just get out there, you don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully today is a really good day for him.
I think this is actually awesome. Before I let you guys go, how does it feel that a film like Alice Fades Away, it's almost like a blockbuster film because there's no other really competition out there from major studios?
Yeah, it's really cool. The 1091's been sending us snapshots of the movie's placement on iTunes on the front page in the new and noteworthy section, right next to a, you know, Kevin Costner movie. And you're like, okay, you know, that's kind of cool. so it's very exciting, you know, and hopefully word of mouth can just take the movie far. You know, that's what we hope for. So we'll see.
And hopefully that's not the last time we hear Alice Fades Away and Blockbuster in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that type of person who managed to put Alice Fades Away and Blockbuster on the same sentence. But yeah,
I'll take it. I like you.
Well, anyways, hey, gentlemen, hey, thank you very much for speaking with me. It's been a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie during pandemic season and whatnot. But you know what? There's always a silver lining to everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next time, right?
Next time.
Absolutely.